Kelly Oubre's health, Tyrese Maxey dominance, and the Sixers are much better without James Harden.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Hello, I'm your co-host Keith Pompey. Right next to me, you can see my man, John Mitchell. What's up, John? How you been, brother?
I'm doing well, Keith. How you doing today, man?
We're doing great. We are the co-host of Locked On 76ers. Come here, we give you the realest. We give you whatever it is, whatever you need to know. And like I said before, it's going to be the realest. It's going to be up straight. No sugarcoat. Nothing.
None at all.
Nothing. None at all. None at all.
No Dunkin' Donuts, no Krispy Kreme.
Nope. None of that. None of that. No glaze, baby. No glaze. Right. So look, y'all. But today, and I don't want to bury the lead. I mean, I don't even think it's the lead, but I don't want to discount what Tyrese Maxey did. What he had was phenomenal. He scored 50 points against the Indiana Pacers on Monday. But the one Sixers player who wasn't there right now steals the headline, and that is Kelly Oubre Jr. Mm-hmm. Saturday night around 7:20, Kelly Oubre was hit in Center City by a hit-and-run driver. He fractured a rib. He messed up a hip. And his leg. Now, I think when it comes down to the hip and the leg, I think that's where the bruises are and lacerations, cuts, whatever. But he fractured a rib. And, is fortunate. Now, to me, there's two things. In Philadelphia. Every time we turn on the news, John, all I know is we keep seeing these hit and run drivers. I mean, a couple weeks ago, a dude was dragged a couple blocks. You know what I mean? Then there's another story you see where there was a guy who was left there after he was hit by a hit and run driver. Yep. So, this is a problem, a serious problem. Mm-hmm. But right now, I'm a little happy that it's not as bad as it could have been.
Right.
You expect it to come back this season.
Prayers out to Kelly Oubre and his family and everybody who loves him, because it could have been far worse.
Exactly. Just give me your thoughts on this whole situation, bro.
Yeah, I mean, just taking it away from the basketball, Keith, as you said, this whole hit and run phenomenon that we're seeing has become much more prevalent. I noticed that during the pandemic, as people became more and more careless with the way they drive, as people became more sloppy, you started to hear these stories, and now they're far too frequent. And obviously, when this person hit him at Broad and Locust, they floored it. They hightailed it. So hopefully,
actually, it was on Spruce Street. So I mean, the one report was off.
Okay,
it was on Spruce Street. Yeah.
So obviously, hopefully they catch this person and then he faces the full weight of the law. He or she faces the full weight of the law for what they did. So again, our prayers are for his family. But taking it back to the basketball court, it's you wrote about this today, or actually last night, that this gives them an opportunity to evaluate what they have, an opportunity to look at the Batums and the Covingtons, and the Marshes, and see what they have now. It's going to force them And I think Nick Nurse was doing a good job at that anyway. I think he had found something in Batum that he liked, and obviously he started him last night. But so now they're going to have to make a deeper observation because, we keep hearing that he could be out for a significant time. There's no specificity attached to that. Let's be honest, he's got a fractured rib. That's going to probably impede his breathing, his conditioning. I don't know what he can do with that type of injury, but it is going to force them to look at some of the alternatives, which I think they were exploring anyway on their roster. I'm not talking about going outside of the roster.
Yeah, I think more so than those three guys too. A guy who I think is going to benefit the most of all this is going to be Daniel House Jr.
Mm.
And the reason why I'm saying Daniel House Jr. is because let's face it, he was the odd man. He was the one left out. Now you had Furkan Korkmaz getting a little bit of minutes. Like Furkan didn't really play a lot yesterday. Like he came in, he had a nice steal, but for the most part, it was like he really didn't do much. Daniel House Jr., they liked his aggressiveness, his defense, his grit that he displayed late in the game, right? Well, like early in the fourth. He also hit a huge 3-pointer. He had a career high in points. He also had not a career high, a season high in points and a season high in minutes played. So he's a guy that is really going to benefit. Now, the one thing that I think is we got to wait until Marcus Morris gets into playing shape.
Yeah.
He didn't do any training camp. He didn't do anything while he was with the Clippers.
Right.
So he's still out of shape. He has to get there. But I do believe once he does get in shape, that he's also going to benefit from this as well. Because although he is a power forward at this stage in his career, he can play some three, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's going to help him. But once Kelly Oubre comes back, and like you said, he's going to have to deal with a couple of things as far as his breathing, all this other stuff. But once all that stuff gets better for him, because it typically takes a month for all that stuff to heal, I just think that this just makes the Sixers a deeper team. They have way more options. Right now what we see Nick Batum starting. We see the way they're doing things. You got Cove playing a lot of the majority of his minutes in the first half. What that does is it enables Tobias Harris to be a little bit more well rested and then come in and close out games for a longer period of time, right? And then you have, Furkan giving the team a little bit of a breather, giving guards, wings, a breather during the stretch in the second quarter. So it's like when you look at it, it's basically it's just making everyone better. Right. But Nick Batum, we talked about this before, and we love Kelly, we love what he's doing. But when you look at the starting lineup, Nick Batum just seems like more of a better fit, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So, but here I am. I'm here to say that I think in a weird kind of way, and I hate to say it because you hate these accidents, but I think it just it's going to make the Sixers a better team.
Yeah, I agree. I hate to be out here constantly agreeing with you and shaking my head. Yes, but you're absolutely right.
You're supposed to do, bro.
I hear you. But if you look at it from a the good thing is that this team, after 9 games, has excellent chemistry. It has excellent chemistry. So you're not forced to take a square peg and try and stick it into a round hole. I'm not sure exactly how that saying goes, but you're not. You know what I mean? So you're not forced to do that. You've got a roster you've got a team that's playing with significantly better pace than they did last year when they were a playoff team. You've got the coach has taken the situation and he's optimized it, and sometimes that's the job of a coach, to just optimize what you have, to coach what you have. And he's done Nick Nurse has done an excellent job of doing that. And so, like you said, Daniel House will be a guy because he's the athletic to get up and down guy. And they play with pace, so it does open the door for them to see, to get better looks at what they have, and this again, making the most of a bad situation. This is something that will help them, as they get in, as they get to the All-Star break and as they move into, the latter half of the season. And again, we have no idea what the roster may look like at that point. But what we do know is that this hiatus as Oubre Jr. heals will give them a chance to tinker. We'll give them a chance to tinker, to give guys a chance to step up and make a contribution.
I agree. Now, look, we got to talk about Tyrese Maxey when we get right back, right? Because Tyrese Maxey was balling, as they say. But right now, I want to talk to y'all about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more or less than 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Now, with basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that include 2 or more players from different sports of the league. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions, right? And if you want to play along some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz, you can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week, right? So what do? How do I go and get started with this? What you need to do is you go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use codes LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match to $100. I'm telling y'all, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. Now, Mitch, Tyrese Maxey was balling, dude. I mean, this guy. I mean, it got to a point where you're like, nah, that ain't going to go in. Swish. I don't think he can do it again. Swish.
Yeah.
Oh, man, like, that's a bad play. Don't go there. Swish. I mean, he was on fire, dude. He shot 20 for 32. He was 7 for 11 on threes.
Mm-hmm.
He had, what was it? He had 17 points in the second quarter and then scored 16 in the fourth. And like, we're talking about 40-point outing in a game that wasn't like a lopsided affair. Like, they needed those points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like, yo, this dude was balling.
Yeah. And again, it was seamless, man. Joel had the powerful first quarter. He handed it off to Tyrese. And I mean, and typically when a guy has a game like Joel has, you're just looking at Joel and saying, wow, look at this great player. But on a night when Tyrese goes for 50, and let's not forget, man, how many shots did he block? 2 or 3?
Yeah, 3. Yep, 3 of them. A couple of them was like nice too.
He got a rundown like LeBron. And what is Tyrese? 6'3"?
6'2". Yeah. I know, right?
So yeah, it was I think that this is a type of game that, when people look back, and let me not be so premature, but I mean, that was truly a coming out game because it was a game where they needed his points. They weren't just points scored in a blowout or a loss. They were crucial points needed at a crucial time to lift 76ers to a league leading, 8-game win streak. against a good team, against a team that made a nice run at them, and you knew Indiana would make a run at them. You look at Tyrese Halliburton, he's still, still a great player, but he was pretty much just a pedestrian and standing around looking at Maxey. So I'm kind of we might need to start coming up with him for a nickname with Maxey. I was thinking, is he the Tyreseosaurus Rex? or Tyrese, are you not entertained, Maxey? I mean, we got to come up with something for this guy. He is, from the gladiator terms, man. This guy is Maximus right about now. He's fun to watch. He's extraordinary, and he's taken hold of this city, and just made you forget what transpired with the previous former superstar who was here.
Yeah, what's his name? You talking about? You won't even name the brother. What's his name?
Tyreseosaurus Rex.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you my James Harden?
Yeah. Oh, that's because I'm like, who you talking about? Like, I knew you were saying, but you said a former superstar.
You forgotten about him all day. You got so used to calling me James not long ago. You forgot.
Who? Let me stop. Nah. It's that's crazy. I mean, you know what? Like, hey, Maxey was balling. He did a lot of things. I mean, he looks so good. I mean, he looks good. It looks to a point where you keep trying to say to yourself, like, listen, it's early in the season. Yeah. I don't want to overhype this dude.
Right.
Because he could fall, it was an 82-game season. I don't want to overhype it, dude.
Yeah.
But when you watch him, you have to hype him up because of the way he's playing, the things that he's doing.
Yeah.
And, the thing about Maxey is, like, I asked him after the game, I said, look, man, because he's a hard worker, Mitch. I'm telling you, this dude is always out there working. I said to him, what you do at times, does it amaze you, like 50 points? Or is it one of those things like, this is what I work for?
Yeah.
And he said, this is what I work for. And he said, like, he's talking about, there was a video, somebody showed him a video of his mom and his dad and his family watching the game. His cousins he got twin nieces who were going to have a birthday party today. So mom and dad was basically, over there away, getting ready to handle some business. And so what happened is, it was one of those things where they weren't around, and their dad was watching the game. And when they look at dad's not smiling at all. Dad's just everybody else was celebrating, like happy.
Yeah.
Look at my baby, killing him. He can't stop you. I was just like looking. So his dad is always that way with him. Why? Because his dad expects it from him.
Right.
Like he tells him. Right. So now Maxey is to that point where it's the same thing. Like, he expects it. Now, is it great? Yeah. But he says that's why he works hard. He's been working hard every day to get 1% better. It's like something that he expects. Now, again, it's not like him and his pop or like, this and that. No, they just expect it. Like, they're not surprised because guess what? He puts in the work. And I'm going to be honest with you. When Maxey first came here, he used to say, like, yo, I want to get 1% better every day. I'm like, come on, man, with these cliches, bro. Like, I don't want to hear that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. It sounds kind of like, it sounds corny, right? It did. Yeah. It sounds corny. But then when you look at it, and that's what he did. He got 1% better every day. And I mean, and he's improved all the time. So, more props to him. And I don't really want to, like, you don't want to overhype the guy because, there's going to be some valleys, ups and highs and lows. Right. But from what he's doing, you can't take anything away from the dude.
Well, let's be honest, Keith. He, at this early juncture of the NBA season, his play. He's probably the biggest story. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a bigger story than in the NBA in NBA circles than the jump that they've taken?
No, there's not. And here's something else that you said. And here's something else that you said, and now that you think about it, like I'm pretty sure, and I'm looking at this off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure that like Nikola Jokic and is up there pretty high in the stats, ranking. But Tyrese Maxey is ranked 9th in the NBA in scoring and 10th in assists.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
so that's pretty good now. So you got to look at it. I mean, right now the Sixers, people don't understand or they don't realize they got the best record in the NBA percentage wise.
Yeah.
They got the best record in the NBA. They're off to their best start since the 2000-2001 season when they went to the championship and lost to the Lakers. Right. And then when you go back on that list, you see other teams. That team was 9-0, but you look at the 8-1 teams. There were some teams on there that won championships. The 83 squad, the 66-67 squad.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like
you mentioned Moses and Wilton Norman Chamberlain from high school. I mean,
from that school, that school that used to lose to West Philly. That school that used to lose to West Philly.
But that's when that school was battling for number 1 or 2, not in the D division of the public league, which it was at the time, but for 1 or 2 in the nation.
Oh, they was that good?
Yeah, Brook was always that good. Yeah.
Oh, I ain't know they was like national.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Brook, West Philly, DeMatha. That was
going back. I heard he wants to go down to DC and get that what cut. Let me stop. I'm just playing. Nah. It's real. But yeah, so like that's what he's doing. So they're doing that. So you have to say that what he's doing is great. But look, we gotta talk about Harden. We gotta talk about this thing, and I know you have a lot to say about it, and I do too. But before we do that, I want to talk to y'all about the Jace case. Why? Because the Jace case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. All it takes to get a Jace case is to fill out a simple online form, and in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of our board-certified physicians. Get ongoing care from our physicians and on any treatment-related questions. Doctor created, doctor recommended. Don't get caught unprepared. Don't do it, y'all. I'm telling you, don't be caught unprepared. So what you do is you go jasemedical.com. Again, jasemedical.com. Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. But Mitch, before we say something, I'm going to say this about Philly basketball. I used to live in Virginia, right? And yes, I'm just messing with you. West Philly and Overbrook, if you look at it, they were 2 of the best teams all time. They used to always battle. Arch rivals, was really good. When I lived in Virginia, and I remember I was covering high school and looking at this game, and one of the coaches says to me, "Oh, you impressed with these guys, aren't you?" I'm like, yeah, pretty good. He's like, "Where you from?" And I said, "Philly." He said, "Nah, you ain't impressed. You ain't impressed." Nah, they're cool. He says, "Come on, man, stop fronting." But the thing is because where we grew up, it's just a lot of Division I dudes. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And then get to play is better in high school. People look at me, I'm 5'11". I didn't have a wicked jump shot, nor did I jump out of the gym. So I ran track and played football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how it was.
Yeah.
But where I was at, you got dudes who my height and some skill set of mine, and they were all county. Okay. So it's just a difference. So when you talk that West Philly and Overbrook stuff, y'all were pretty good, and people forget that Wilt wasn't the only dude that came out of Brook either.
That's right.
You know what I mean? He made it.
Right.
So it was a long history for decades of great players coming out of there. But I'm gonna say this, Mitch: the Sixers are way better without James Harden.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was going to be possible.
Yeah.
I thought that if James Harden would have left, they would struggle a little bit. I even was wrong, and I said in the first game of the season not having James there kind of hindered them, right? But when you look at it, they're just a completely different team and better off without him. And you look at the Clippers and you see how the Clippers are struggling, and it's
Right.
kind of like, wow,
Yeah.
problems over there. And you look and see, I mean, do you know the Clippers have lost 5 straight since the trade, right? They lost 4 with James, right? But then James, and people forget, when they played the Lakers, that's before the trade actually became finalized. But James and PJ Tucker went in the locker room. Now PJ played that game. They played the next game. But what happened is it's kind of like they basically lost 5 straight since the trade. 5 straight, man. 5 straight.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, there's been a lot of vitriol spewed at James Harden, particularly in Philadelphia. And I think we should start giving James Harden his flowers. It's time to give him some credit for the boss move he made this summer. That's that day in Japan, in China, when he said, listen, I can no longer play for Daryl Morey. I think right now, you have to question yourself: is James Harden the front runner for the front office executive of the year? Can we give him some credit? I contend that his demand that the Sixers deal him has probably been the most impactful, decisive, and important determination of the season. 1/9 of the way through, 1/9 of the way through the season. I mean, in one fell swoop, made with the audacity, perhaps, of him drinking his wine, he said, "Look, I need to be moved." And since then, he's managed to make the Sixers, at least for the moment, the surprise best team in the league. And he's given them all sorts of roster flexibility. I mean, this is the stuff, granted, the move was consummated by Daryl Morey, but because of his demands, the Sixers have gone from a team that was preparing to lose a generationally talented player in Joel Embiid to the horrible New York Knicks, a franchise in the so-called basketball mecca that's gone about a half century without 50 years. This is their 50-year anniversary in New York without an NBA championship, So now, granted, and we were hearing all these stories that Joel he's going to leave the 76ers. He's going to be miserable. Well, we haven't seen any semblance of that now, So, I mean, and not only has he made the Sixers stronger in exiting, but he's transformed a team with 4 future Hall of Famers, including himself, into a squad that's gone 0-5 ever since his plane landed on the tarmac in Los Angeles. They were 3-1 when they acquired him. And now they're 3-6. So it's one thing for an executive to transform and improve one team, but Harden has actually weakened the team that could potentially be an NBA champion. Or a contender for an NBA title. So at the 1/9 of the way through the season position, I'm going to give him the front office executive of the year award.
Was he the executive of the year for the Sixers?
He's executive year because he's transformed 2 teams. Not only did he transform the Sixers, but he's transformed the Clippers. I mean, they don't get up but they still get up and down the floor. They just can't beat anybody right now.
It's crazy too, because when you look at it, like when they won those first game, the couple games right now, you can look at the Trailblazers, the Magic, the Spurs. They 3 wins. They had they routed the Trailblazers. They beat them by 12 points, 123 to 111, right? Then they lost a close one to the Jazz. And then they hung 40. They beat the Spurs by 40. And they beat the Magic by 16. And the Magic looked like the 4-man was a little surprising team. Mm-hmm. And then once without James and them, once they made the trade, they lost 5 points. James didn't play, but they lost to the Lakers by 5 points. Mm-hmm. Then the Knicks routed them 111 to 97 with James playing. They lost to the Nets, the undermanned Nets, 100 to 93. The Mavericks got personal with them and beat them 144 to 126. Yeah. And then they lost to the lowly Grizzlies, 105-101. And dude, they might get embarrassed tomorrow. They play the Denver Nuggets on TNT tomorrow at 10 p.m. and they could get embarrassed, dude.
I expect
they could get embarrassed, man. They could get embarrassed.
Yeah.
And now, you know, Ty Lue is saying he wants Harden attacking. He's being too polite. But that's the same thing that Doc Rivers said.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't know. It's just a bad look, man.
Yeah.
It's just a bad look. And, you know, and the crazy part about it is, so when they made that trade, people were trying to tell me that Robert Covington, Nick Batum, and all them, oh man, they can't play. But now you look at it like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That was your role players. That was your defensive players.
Right.
They don't have that anymore. So now the Clippers they got 4 number 1 options. 4 number 1 options, dude.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't win like that.
Yeah, you got to feed. All those mouths have to eat.
Yeah.
All those mouths have to eat. You know, they're sitting there like those baby eagles in a nest, you know, feed me, mama. And hey, you know, there's just not enough food. There aren't enough basketballs to go around, just like there aren't enough worms to go around in that nest. You know, so that's why I say, hey man, you know, all the vitriol we've had for James Harden. Imagine if James Harden weren't, you know, in front of all those Chinese people watching him at his basketball camp, waiting to drink his wine. And didn't, you know, and he didn't make that. He didn't insist that he couldn't be in Philadelphia with Daryl Morey. Brother, thank you. Philadelphia can't thank you enough, James. So the vitriol is over, man. You know, he's not the enemy.
You're crazy, man.
He's a valued friend.
He said, all those people waiting to drink his wine. You crazy. You crazy. You crazy, though. But
he helped his business out as well.
Oh, yeah, that joint did sell out.
So he's a front office genius, not only in the basketball court, but in the wine industry. So let's laud this man and welcome Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Mad Maxey.
Mad Maxey.
Yeah. Mad Maxey. He's doing it. He's doing the thing. Yeah, they're a whole lot better without James. Yeah. I gotta admit it. James was slowing it up. Tobias wasn't being utilized right. Maxey was being something. Now I will say that James did help Maxey's development. I'm gonna give him that because
no doubt.
He was doing that James Harden step back on fools yesterday.
Oh my Lord,
hitting them. So I'm gonna give him credit, but I just think that right now they're a better team without him. I mean, again, what's going to happen when they play a tougher team? Sometimes you might say you miss them, you miss the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I think that, at least from what I see, I think that they're a better team. They're a better team.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. But look, thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. Every dayers. Tomorrow's show will be on none other. The second of 2 matchups against the Indiana Pacers. And this one is going to be an NBA in-season game, right? And the court last time when they played against Detroit, Mitch, wasn't really that bad.
It wasn't that bad from what I've seen.
This one, I'm like the red and the blue, like, yo, man, it's like, you know, we'll see now. We'll see. I know Sixers fans going to get mad, like, why are you hating? But I'm not here. I just like that red might hurt my eyes a little bit. All that red.
I'm interested to see what it looks like, but they're toned down from what I thought they would look like.
Some of them are. Now, some of them aren't. Like that one, I think the Detroit one was cool. Mm-hmm. The only problem with the Detroit was they just needed to have more fans there because they had that stuff on TV out there. Just kind of bad and empty. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. So we'll talk about that tomorrow and this and that. But I want to thank y'all again for listening. And I want y'all to know that y'all can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast at. And it's free and available wherever you get your podcasts at. Also, you can go to our YouTube channel, Locked On 76ers YouTube, And what you do is when you get in there, click on the Liberty Bell. That enables you to be a new subscriber, and it also allows you to get notifications whenever we post podcasts and stuff like that. Stuff are ready for you to view or listen to. So, do that today. We want to thank y'all. We want y'all to have not only a blessed day, but a blessed work week. And we'll be back tomorrow. Me and my man Mitch talking about West Philly spanking Overbrook. But
it's ancient history for a lot of people now. But
I know exactly. Right now, it's all about Imhotep.
Yeah,
And, you know what I mean. For real, that's what it is. It's all about.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's straight. And brother, and I like my man, my brother Andre has done a great, phenomenal job. You know, he's done a great job there getting. It's funny, like Imhotep, who they got it, like dudes in Kentucky, dudes going all over, man. So yeah, it's not like how it was back in the day, but I guess we're dating ourselves. But
yes, we
come
are.
back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, and we'll give y'all some more info on your 76ers.
Kelly Oubre, get well. We thank you. Thankful you're with us, brother.
Exactly.
Look at it that way.
Peace.